Hello my friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Severiano Paoli and we're gonna talk about the double bass. In the previous episode we saw and analyzed the development of the bow from the Renaissance all throughout the Baroque era till the end of the latter. If you haven't seen it, follow the link here, if it appears, because I haven't done it yet, so let's hope I'll manage. In any case, just follow the link that's supposed to be here, or just browse the playlist in my channel, the playlist called The Bow, and you will find it. In the previous episode, I showed you this as last bow. And as I said, this is a late Baroque design, which we could consider even as a transitional bow. So a transitional bow between the Baroque and the Classical period. Why? Because, look, it still has a beautiful, pointy, elegant tip, very Baroque. But look at the stick. Look how straight it is. It has a very, very slight curve. It's hard to see. I don't know if you can see it from there. I can barely see it from here close. This bow shows what direction bow making had taken. The direction that from here goes to here. What in God's name is that? This was my first reaction when I saw such a design on a bow. Like, this bow is bizarre compared to what we saw so far. First of all, you can see the head is very high and there's this very particular tip. Let me just show you, if I don't make everything fall. You can easily see the difference between the tips. This one is pretty low, this one is extremely high. Also, as you can see, it's a pretty long, relatively bulky bow. The curve is again here almost straight, and anyway it doesn't have much of a slope because the tip is so high that would not be possible. You need a frog like this to have the same. This design is called the Sperger bow. Why? Because this is the sort of bow that Johann Matthias Sperger, who has been one of the greatest composers and virtuosos of the 18th century. He was a great composer of double bass music, but of music in general. He has written a lot of stuff. I invite you to make some research about him. So anyway, this was the sort of bow that he used. But now, let's take a look at what the characteristics of this bow are. The way the Sperger bow plays is related to what the double bass is expected to do in classical music. We're now going to analyze two aspects of playing. The first is ensemble playing, so chamber music and orchestra, and the second is solo. Two main characteristics of classical ensemble playing are power and clarity. As a matter of fact, the conception is not that far from the Baroque one. The difference is that in classical music there are bass passages that are way more muscular, I'd say, or at least they happen quite often. Whoever has played Mozart opera has found something like this. Here, in order to do this, you need a bow that supports this elastic and allows you to do this, especially for a long time, because often you find pages and pages of this sort of this sort of very fast articulation. And it's obvious that they need to be clear, crispy and bright, otherwise they will just get muddy. In that sense, the Sperger bow helps a lot, because first of all it's made of light wood. This one is specifically made out of maple, but there's plenty in cherry wood or beech wood, or you name it. Anyway, light wood has this characteristic by nature of giving brighter, a clearer sound, which doesn't lack power, doesn't lack volume, but retains this clarity. This is a very important word, clarity. Whereas, for example, woods like arrowwood or pernambuco have a sort of warmth of massiveness. Is this even a word in English? I don't know. Anyway, have this sort of bigger roaring sound that is not necessarily the most indicated for this genre. Of course, next to the full-blown muscular heavy metal passages, classical music is also full of sweet, mellow nuances. For example, when accompanying singers in opera during heartfelt arias, or so it's very important to achieve that sort of nuance and still to retain the clarity we talked about before, which is fundamental. In this sense, this sort of bow helps a lot. For example, the other side of bass playing in classical music is, of course, solo playing. And here we go crazy. So, this is the period of the Viennese bass. The Viennese bass is a bass with a very particular tuning, which is pretty much an open D. Anyway, which is pretty much an open D, and is a particular tuning which has chords in very simple position. It's very easy to execute chords on this instrument. Now, we're not gonna go deep into this, there will be an episode about it. But just to say that this tuning allows very virtuosic runs around the fingerboard with much ease. And composers obviously saw this and started writing for this lovely tuning. Sperger was one of them. Classical solo playing, especially in Viennese music, goes from the most sparkling, as we said before, bright, muscular articulations and passages, down to the most heartfelt and subtle and mellow, sweet bel canto lines, phrases. And what I'm going to show you this now. I'm going to show you two fragments from a concert I played some time ago, where I'm playing the Viennese Violone Concerto by Vanel. And I'd like you to listen to these fragments in order to have an idea, because there I'm playing with forte piano, so with the original instrument that would have accompanied a concert back then. So you can hear how the two things work together. Of course, there's a Specter Bow in my hand that allows me to do that. resuming, the Sperger bow is a bow that is elastic, very reactive, has a sound that is big, that is resonant and beautiful, that projects very well, but that never gets muddy. That is a sound that retains a certain clarity. So, for situations where this characteristic is required, is a bow that will do for you. As a matter of fact, is a bow that can also do pretty well in Baroque, and even in early Romantic. I find the use for this. If we have to think about some cons, well, it's as all the bows that tend to spring a lot, it makes your life a bit harder when you have to play like very long phrases and that. Although it's absolutely possible and I can do it easy, but every player that is experienced with sort of bows can. I suggest you, my friends, to try it out. If you can borrow it from somebody, you can try it at luthier, at the bowmaker shop or anything, because it's a very interesting bow and it can give you a lot of insights about the music from back then. So my friends, we've come at the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed to hear some insights and a bit of history of this bow, and of course this is just little information. There's plenty of literature and of people around that know a lot about this subject, so I suggest you to go deep into it because it's really interesting, and I hope you enjoyed it. And next video will be about, well, what for me is probably the best bow of all. I like all the ones you've seen so far, but next I'm really excited to make next videos, make next episode, because it's gonna go about my favorite bow ever, the Dragonetti bow. So, my dear friends, see you next time. Have a great time even in this difficult period. It's difficult for everyone, so we need to keep hard, especially we musicians. Let's keep a smile and see you next time. All the best. Ciao.